Hey guys, this is Carissa and welcome back to my YouTube channel, Inky Fairy Designs. Today I am very excited to be up on the Ranger Ink blog showing you this art journal page and how it came together. You can either watch the video here or you can hop over to the Ranger Ink blog and see the step-by-step tutorial, which I'll have linked in the comments below. So I started by prepping my page using the white gesso. And I'm doing a double page spread in the middle of my Dina Wakley media journal, and I'm starting with the Scribble sticks. These are from the set 2, as you can see, and I'll have all of the colors, of course, listed below in the product description that I have down below. So I love dipping the back end of the Scribble sticks in some water just to kind of activate them because they are water reactive, they're water based, and just kind of making some marks on my page. And I went a little nuts making these marks, but I was having so much fun, and it's a great way to just kind of bust through that white page kind of syndrome and get some color easily on the page and get a good started place and background beginning. So you can see I also use my fingers to kind of move and blend the colors together and move them around. And that green was pretty overpowering, so I added in some more of, I believe, the lapis and ocean colors to try to bring the blue back, but wasn't quite happening. And then a happy accident was I had my Scribble sticks sitting on the page, and I noticed they were still a little wet and they were creating these cute little circles, and so I dipped them in water again, and instead of moving them around, I'm just stamping them like a stamp and creating these awesome circles. Apparently circles were the theme of the day when I started this, and I went with it. So to break up the circles, I pulled out this Ladders stencil by Dina Wakley Media, and also some paints in turquoise and buff, and I also end up bringing in ocean because it felt like the turquoise and the buff mixed together wasn't giving me enough color on the page. Like you really couldn't see the stencil that well. So I continue going with the turquoise and the buff, and I had just placed them, like put some out on my craft mat and kind of mix them together on the blending tool. And then this is where I brought in the ocean color, and it definitely added more color that I was looking for, just to get that that stencil texture more seen on the page. So this page really takes a turn. If you saw the beginning picture, you know that it doesn't look anything like this by the end, but that's kind of the process of art journaling for me. I never know when I sit down where it's going to take me. So I'm cleaning off my blending tool just by opening up a blank page and kind of starting another background, which I actually love the way the paint circles are happening on that page, so that'll be a fun one to return to. So now I was ready to add some contrast color, so I pulled out Fuchsia and Blushing, and I'm just going to use this mark making tool by Dina Wakley Media and just go to town making little marks. These tools, they're great for making marks. However, I find that they're a little bit harder for me to work with. I'm not sure. It doesn't really make the marks that I'm kind of looking for. And I've seen people use them and make these beautiful marks, so I know they work. It is just a matter of me pulling them out more and getting used to them. So I'm wiping off the excess of the paint on there, just kind of scribbling it around some more. And then the paint, I like to kind of smush it down with a paper towel, any of the marks, because sometimes it'll get really thick with the paint, and this just makes it so that it will dry a lot faster, and I like the smushy look. So here I am coming in with the blushing color, and I'm just using my fingers, because it is just not an art journal page if I don't get my fingers involved. And I love the way that the marks that my fingers make marks on my page. And you can see I'm covering up a lot of the fuchsia because I just wasn't in love with that color on my page. And it blends together really nicely with the blushing, which is one of my absolute favorite colors to use whenever I have blues or greens on a page. I think it's just like the perfect contrast color. So I'm just going around adding those marks until I'm happy. And then here I am using, I think it's the smallest brush from the 4-pack of short handle brushes by Dina Wakley Media. And I decided to come in and make my little crosses. It's the perfect size for that. And I came in with the color Gilt. It's my favorite, or Jilt, I don't know how you pronounce it, but it's my favorite metallic. However, it was kind of getting lost in the page, so I bring in some black, and that was giving me a lot better look. I didn't even clean off my brush. I just went in directly with the black and whatever was remaining of the gilt on my paintbrush, and then I also go over some of the other crosses in that gold color, but not all of them. I left some of them there. And then I go in and make some other kinds of marks, just kind of like pressing down my paintbrush like a little foot. And these marks are so cute. I really love them. I think they look great on pages. However, this page was getting to be quite busy, and at this point I wasn't sure what I was going to do with it. I knew I had to break it up somehow, and I'm hoping the next step will do that. So I pulled out some of the collage backgrounds papers, and I saw these little windows or doors. I think they're windows, they could be doors, and I thought they would break up the page pretty well. So I went ahead and cut a few of them out. And I'm using the heavy gel medium, but that is so not necessary for the thinness of this paper. It's just that I don't have any of the soft gel medium left, or I couldn't find it. And here I thought I have two of the same style windows, and I looked at the paper and saw that there really is, I think, only 3 or 2 styles throughout. And so I just went with it. So 2 of them are the same, 1 is different. But I kept it so that 2 were on one page and 1 is on the other, because I like how breaking up things in 3s looks on a spread. So it still wasn't breaking it up as much as I wanted all of that busy background, which was entirely fun to make. It just was not what I was looking for, or just wasn't having that feeling that I feel when I'm getting close to being finished with a page. So I knew I had to keep going. And like I say a lot, push past that ugly. I know we'll get there. So I brought in some of that, I brought in some white gesso and kind of brought it down from the doors, kind of making them look like they were floating, or, you know, providing this light coming from them. And then I thought, well, maybe I'll try the Stabilo Woody and add some shadow around the doors. Maybe that'll make them pop a little bit more and push the background back more. And it was doing that a little bit. I was kind of getting to where I was enjoying this page a little bit more, but I still wasn't there yet. But the black Woody all-in-one pencil, or whatever it's called, it gave me an idea. And I'm thinking, as I continue around this particular door, can I go for it? Can I do something crazy? Will I try this idea that I am pondering at this exact moment? And I'm like, I just got to go for it. There is no wrong in mixed media, and if anything, the art journal is a great place for experimenting and going for those things that you never know what the outcome could be. So I ended up covering this entire right hand side page with black. I covered up all of that background, and as soon as I started doing that, I really loved it. It really made the background pop that was underneath that collage paper. And I thought, for the contrast, I would do white. The same thing with white on the other side. And it was a sad day for my white Dina Wakley media paint because I had to cut open into it and get the very last bits out of it. So I knew that day was coming, and today was that day. So I covered that page with white, and then to continue with that theme of like contrast and black and white, and you know, having that opposite look on my pages, I went in with black paint underneath the windows on the left hand side that I covered with white paint. So here I'm just kind of wiping up and making sure that I didn't cover my collage papers too much with the white paint or the Stabilo. And so here I am making that dark line come down with black from those windows. So I really love the contrast and like the feeling of opposites attract, or you know, you can't have the light without the dark. That's kind of where I was going and how I was feeling as this page sort of came to life and fell out of my hands, or just kind of fell out of my mind onto paper. So I did some scribble writing with that mark making tool, and I didn't like the way it looked at the first time, so I smoothed it all while it was still wet and went in and wrote some actual words instead of just like random scribbles, and I liked that better, even though you still can't read what it says. At least for me, there's some meaning behind it, and that made me a lot happier. Plus, it just doesn't look so random. I tried to add some marks into the white, but it was really kind of drying fast there, and so I smoothed them in. But you can still see some of that background on that white page, which I think is great because it just kind of softens that a lot more. So here in the collage background papers, there is a large paper filled with all these awesome quotes and words, and the first word that jumped out to me that kind of fit this page, it was a quote by Ernest Hemingway, and it says, "We are all broken, that's how we let the light in." And I loved that, just because we have the dark black page and then we have the white page. And then I chose some other words for the other side: be the light and be peace, because we have to be at peace with, at least I have to find peace with my broken, you know, my broken parts, and be okay, because that's how we let the light in. And so I didn't like how, I didn't like how it was so stark. So of course I thought, let's add some splatters. So I pulled out my Tim Holtz splatter brush and mixed up some black paint with some water and added that to the white. And then, of course, we want to do the exact opposite on the other page. So I mixed up some white paint with water and splattered that side. So once those were on there, I had that feeling of peace that this page was done. I added some black splatters onto the white part of my other page just to continue that contrast throughout. And I just love this page. I love how this spread turned out. I love that you can see that crazy busy background behind the collage papers. You can see it subtly through the white page, the white paint that I put on that page, but it's completely gone on the black side, and I love that. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial today. Definitely check out the tutorial on the Ranger Ink blog if you want to see like step-by-step photos of this process. Thank you again to Ranger for inviting me to be a guest artist. I love having this opportunity, and I will put a link to all of my other past Ranger guest art tutorials if you want to take a look at those here. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up, and you can click on my picture and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any other videos. Thanks again for watching. I will be back tomorrow with another video. Until then, stay inspired, be creative, and share that with others. Bye.